all rise. Let us pray. Holy One, we give you thanks for this time of gathering today as we come together to honor the place that Converse is, has been, and will be in the future. We are reminded this day of the beauty of our community and the gifts of each and every person here. We are grateful for a shared commitment to the mission of this place, which is rooted deeply in curiosity, integrity, and compassion. Be with us now in this time of celebration. Amen.
Good afternoon. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Well, good morning and welcome to 2022 Founders Day at Converse I am delighted to welcome each of you, trustees, faculty, staff, friends, and family, and most of all, to our students for the celebration of the founding of this great institution of higher education. I'd like to especially thank our trustee, Alan Smith, for this wonderful Chamber of Commerce weather we have today. Thank you, Alan. Now, I imagine starting a brand new college is no small feat. And I like to consider what the earliest meetings to launch this new endeavor must have been like. We all know that early in the spring of 1889, at a small lawyer's office on Hale Street, near downtown Spartanburg, 12 citizens plus Dexter Edgar Converse gathered to discuss and debate the idea of founding a new college for women. Now, there are no minutes from that meeting and no record of what was said, but we do know that by the end of that meeting, each of those 12 individuals, all from different professions, backgrounds, religious denominations, they were all committing their own money to support this cause. So what was said? Something had to be said, right, to motivate people like that. I imagine we could hear the echoes of that original conversation in the founder's ideal that Dexter Edgar Converse later wrote. He said, quote, "I desire that the instruction and influence of Converse College be always such that students may be enabled to see clearly, decide wisely, and to act justly, and that they may learn to love God and humanity, and be faithful to truth and duty, so that their influence may be characterized by purity and power." End quote. I love the boldness of this goal for us. We often rightly focus on the educational imperative in this ideal, to empower our students to see clearly, decide wisely, and act justly. But in addition, I am struck by the appeal of Mr. Converse to make us all lead with our values, to learn to be faithful to truth and duty, and to allow our influence to be guided by purity and power. Leading with one's values and developing a shared sense of values-driven culture has been part of our institution since its founding, and it continues to guide our work today. The Converse core values are our enduring beliefs that serve as a compass for Converse. They transcend time and extend across the institution and guide our actions and decisions. They are excellence, which drives us to achieve the best in all that we pursue. Integrity, that calls us to cultivate and exercise honor, character, and vision in daily decisions and actions. Exploration, that compels us to think critically and creatively in the acquisition of knowledge and skills. Diversity that inspires us to embrace the different perspectives, experiences, cultures, backgrounds, talents, and contributions that comprise a global society. Respect that leads us to value self and others, recognizing the legitimacy of individuality in belief, expression, and perspective. Community that motivates us to develop a dynamic network of relationships through a balance of work and play that nurtures the ability of each member in order to establish a better whole. And progress that challenges us to think strategically toward the future by employing creativity, adaptability, ingenuity, and innovation to advance and transform the world around us. These 7 values are central to who we are as a university. They are carved into the stones surrounding the Converse seal on the front plaza. And these values will form the foundation of our work as we look to the strategic vision for this university. We are currently engaged in a strategic planning process that will reflect who we are, where we have been, and where we are going as a unified Converse. Today, I hope you will join me in celebrating our values. And we will do this by commemorating our founder and awarding our staff, faculty, and students who are doing outstanding work on our campus to live into these core values. Later in the program, we will welcome my good friend and Professor Emerita, there she is, Dr. Melissa Walker, to give our keynote address. Melissa welcomed Chandra and me to Converse and to Spartanburg 10 years ago this summer, and I cannot think of a better person to help connect us to the history of this institution and the values that have led it, especially through challenging times. Thank you for being with us today, Dr. Walker. I've been talking to several of our graduating seniors in recent weeks who have expressed to me some sadness and anxiety about leaving Converse this spring. One student confided in me last week that she was ready to be done with college. So ready, she said. But that she was not ready to be done being a student. She told me that having a job and a new apartment and so much new all at once was supposed to be great, and that she was very grateful for these opportunities before her, but that she wanted more time, and she was afraid of what came next. I completely understood her. I've been adjusting to so much new in my life recently, too, and I thought about this speech that I was writing as I was talking to her. I thought about our founders and how they invited so much new into their lives by founding a new college. And I especially thought about how they navigated the transition by leading with their values. They knew that they did not do it alone, but in a community with the support of others who celebrated those same values. When we lead with our values and support each other, we become the Converse that our founders dreamed we would be. Together, we will. Please help me welcome to the podium Student Body President Angela Brobson. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome, faculty, staff, alumni, students, and friends of the Converse community. I'm very happy to stand in front of all of you today and celebrate our founder's birthday together and celebrate what this beloved campus and community has given us, no matter if you're a senior ready for graduation or a freshman about to complete your first year. He has given us a place that we can rely on and one that is steeped in history. History that I try to be well-versed in. So well-versed, I may or may not have made a coo-hoot about it some time ago. Take where we are gathered here today, in the beautiful Twitchell Auditorium. Imagine being in these very seats, listening to John Philip Sousa, the composer of the official National March of the US, or Yo-Yo Ma, or Duke Ellington. Now think of the generations of students before us, sitting in these seats, preparing to graduate and then going off to be major generals, opera singers, poets, scientists, friends, and colleagues. When I was trying to find inspiration to write this speech, I realized the inspiration I needed was Converse all along. I just needed to take roots in where I stood and see that Converse has given us so much. I've been able to make strong friendships, have great professors that help us succeed, and be able to take part in the traditions that we've been excited to return to since COVID. The mindset I want to bring into my upcoming year as the SGA president is to take root. This may sound weird. As a generation who wants to go forward and be the change we wish to see, with a go, go, go attitude, this might even sound counterintuitive. I know from experience that it can get a little hectic going from one thing to another, not really allowing yourself to reflect on just how much each thing affects you, and truly appreciate where you are now compared to where you started. But we have to acknowledge where we came from. Founders Day is all about coming back to our roots, celebrating when Dexter Edgar Converse established Converse College, now a university, where students can grow and be everything they dare to be. The demographics may have changed over the years, but the mission has not. Everyone has their own personal roots to Converse. They're formed from the celebrations you have with friends, the relationships you have with your professors, the appreciation you form with your teammates and coaches, or even from your favorite spot to relax on campus. But they allow us to stay grounded and appreciate what we have. Maybe you only have small roots and you're waiting to just get your education and leave. Others may have roots so strong they're the size of tree trunks. This isn't to say that I'm not willing to turn a new leaf or grow into new perspectives, but to say that I know where I'm from. The Converse student of today is both different and similar to the students of the past. We are always evolving, but we can always be sure that our roots are strong at Converse and the connections we've made with each other are like no other. Trees may be stagnant, but roots are always learning, growing, and evolving. Thank you.
Wisiger Cup honors outstanding student athletes who exhibit Converse's priorities of academic excellence, student leadership and service, and competitive intercollegiate athletics. The award was created through a generous endowment established by Mr. Edgar I. Wisiger and his wife, Mrs. Agnes Binder Wisiger, class of 1963. The Wisiger Cup is presented to a Converse graduating student athlete each year at Founders Day. The student selected for this honor has a proven record of leadership and community building skills, is a valuable member of the campus community, and is an asset to her team. The recipient's name is added to the sterling silver Wisiger Cup trophy that is permanently housed in the Wisiger Center, and the recipient receives her own smaller engraved version as a keepsake. Please join me in celebrating our 2021-2022 recipient from the women's golf team, Emma Reed. Emma has served as the president of SAAC, the NCAA Student Athlete Advisory Committee, for the past 2 years, as captain of the Valkyries golf team in the 2021-2022 school year, a passionate and committed team member, and often a top 5 golfer throughout her 4 years at Converse. Emma also served as a presidential ambassador for Converse from 2019 to the present. She is treasurer of the Campus Fellowship of Christian Athletes Club and has also been a student FCA huddle leader for the golf team for the past 3 years. One of 10 students selected across the U.S. for an internship with Ford Motor Company in the summer of 2021. Soon after the completion of the 8-week internship, Emma was offered and has accepted a full-time position with Ford Motor Company Credit upon graduating from Converse. Emma will graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting from Converse and has an outstanding GPA of 3.76. Help me in congratulating Emma. The Catherine Amelia Brown Award was established at Converse by the late Mr. and Mrs. James Douglas Brown of Ozark, Alabama, in memory of their daughter, a member of the class of 1970, to recognize faculty members who have excelled in the classroom. This year, we are pleased to honor Dr. Angela Elder, Associate Professor of History and Politics, with this recognition of teaching excellence. A student writes, "Dr. Elder is the perfect example of an educator. I'm lucky to have her as my advisor and professor for various history classes. I've taken her survey of American history, 18th century death and dying, and African American history. Her teaching style is passionate, accommodating, and inclusive. She does an amazing job of recognizing her students' weaknesses and helping them build confidence in those areas. I have watched my peers in her classes truly blossom into critical thinkers and passionate historians." A colleague writes, "Her teaching is excellent, creative, enthusiastic, innovative, and student active. She loves what she does, and it shows. She does what historians must do to make our discipline more attractive to this generation of students. Even though her approach is popular, her standards are exacting and demanding. Dr. Elder also understands the relationship between classroom teaching and scholarship. The two are inextricably intertwined. She is a first-rate scholar, and this level of scholarship demonstrates to her students the importance of scholarly activity to being a star teacher. Congratulations, Dr. Elder.
The next one's me, I apologize. I'm new. Last night at the Converse Silver Soiree, celebrating the top donors of our beloved institution, we recognized the recipient of the 2022 Dexter Edgar Converse Award. This year's recipient is Marcia H. Gibbs. A lifelong resident of Spartanburg, South Carolina, Marcia is an instrumental leader in the upstate community. She and her husband, Jimmy, founder and chief executive of Gibbs International, have impacted countless lives through their business and philanthropic endeavors. Marcia has been a steadfast supporter of Converse and its students, serving a total of 16 years on the Board of Trustees from 1999 to 2021. Along with her gifts of time, Marcia is a music patron, theater patron, and a Steinway donor. Over the years, Converse has experienced tremendous growth through the overwhelming generosity of the Gibbs and the Gibbs Charitable Foundation. The Gibbs leadership gifts range from the funding of the Gibbs Chapel in the Montgomery Student Center, the construction of the Heath apartment housing, and to establish the Marcia H. Gibbs Endowed Scholarship Fund, not to mention the construction of the Marcia H. Gibbs Fieldhouse. For her endless contributions to our community and for her years of service to Converse, Marcia H. Gibbs is honored with the 2022 Dexter Edgar Converse Award, the highest award bestowed by Converse. Marcia is unable to join us in person today, but she is with us via the live stream, so please help me congratulate this incredible champion for Converse, Marcia H. Gibbs.
And now Dean Mingo will come forward and present the Spirit of Converse Award.
The Spirit of Converse Award is presented annually to an employee that embodies the core values of the university and positively impacts the Converse community through professional and personal contributions. This award is one of the highest of the university's and most distinctive awards for the university. Recipients serve as an example to others through their commitment and contributions to Converse, the support of colleagues, team spirit, cooperation, enthusiasm, and loyalty. This year's recipient received several nominations and was lauded as a tireless force who has known exemplary leadership and shown exemplary leadership. She is always willing to learn and listen, is dedicated to creating an environment where employees feel supported, engaged, and included. Her passion for keeping the Converse community safe is unsurpassed. She is always giving above and beyond in her efforts to provide necessary equipment for training, for facilities, campus safety, and campus technology teams. In addition, to her standard responsibilities of her role, She also served to guide our campus through the many challenges of the pandemic, ensuring that our COVID response met the needs of the entire campus community. From coordinating on-campus testing and vaccination clinics, to meal delivery and quarantine housing solutions, to contact tracing and data collection, her leadership was critical to the health and wellness of our entire university community. She works with human resources to enhance employee benefits, salaries, and retention. She oversees dining services and the bookstore to ensure a good student experience. She works closely with the mailroom, making sure they have the necessary equipment to operate smoothly, and oversees event services on campus. She was instrumental in the championing the newly formed Department of Research and Engagement. This year's award recipient is known to work long hours and make certain that all campus operations are working smoothly. Her door is literally always open. It has been said that she can be seen speed walking across campus from one department or another, but she always takes time to speak to students and employees. She always greets others with a smile on her face, and she works diligently to better the university for all and to make sure that Converse is a premier institution to attend, but also to work. Some of the many words that were used in her descriptions included intelligent, visionary, tact, leadership, decisive, responsible, caring, a great listener, respectful, honesty, integrity, and dedicated. Those are just some of the qualities that make this year's recipient so deserving of the recognition of possessing the Spirit of Converse Award. And now, let's give a warm round of applause for this year's recipient, Vice President of Operations and Strategic Planning, Kristen Lacey.
I am very pleased to introduce our speaker, Dr. Melissa Walker, although many of you may know her as a colleague and professor from her time as a member of our Converse faculty. An award-winning teacher and scholar, she joined the faculty at Converse in 1996, the first faculty member at Converse to hold the George Dean Johnson Jr. Chair in History. She continues to hold the title of the Emerita George Dean Johnson Jr. Professor of History. In recognition of her work at Converse, Dr. Walker received the Catherine Amelia Brown Award for Outstanding Teaching, the O'Haran Award for Faculty Excellence, the Scholarly and Creative Achievement Award, and the Jo Ann Lever Award. In 2007, the Carnegie Foundation for Teaching and the Council for the Advancement and Support of Education named her the South Carolina Professor of the Year. Throughout her time at Converse, Dr. Walker taught a wide variety of courses in U.S. history, including the New South, the American Revolution in the Southern Backcountry, U.S. women's history, African American history, and others. Born on a dairy farm in Tennessee, Dr. Walker's childhood experiences shaped her research into the lives of farm women. After graduating summa cum laude from Maryville College, she worked in university alumni relations and development for a decade before earning her PhD in U.S. and women's history at Clark University. She is the author editor, or co-editor of 11 books. Most recently, she co-edited the book Kansas Boy, the memoir of A.J. Bollinger with the late Dr. Jeff Barker. In 2017, she retired after 21 years of teaching to found Heyday Coaching, a professional and career coaching firm that specializes in working with academics and mid-career professionals on personal and professional development. The business takes its name from women's suffrage activist Elizabeth Cady Stanton's assertion that, quote, 50, not 15, is the heyday of life. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Walker before the pandemic at a Converse Women's Leadership Conference, and I know that she will be as inspiring today as she was then. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Melissa Walker as the keynote speaker for this year's Founders Day celebration.
Thank you, Provost Medford. I am so happy to be here. Good morning to all the students, staff, faculty, parents, friends, and trustees here in Twitchell and out there in the virtual sphere. And I do have to put my glasses on in spite of that 22-point font. Thank you, President Hopkins, for inviting me to offer some thoughts on this important occasion, and congratulations on your first Founders Day as president of Converse University. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today. This is a day when we look to the past to honor those who founded this great institution of higher learning and to look to them for wisdom to guide our future choices. We gather today as a community that has endured a lot of changes in a very short time. In 2020, Converse announced a model change, becoming a university and opening undergraduate programs to men for almost the first time in 131 years. Almost as soon as the model change was announced, our world was swept by a global pandemic that has taken millions of lives and forced us all to make major adaptations to our daily lives, including the way we lived and learned and attended classes. In 2021, Converse faced the departure of President Newkirk and the tragic loss of our longtime leader, Interim President Jeff Barker. To say that we've been forced to navigate some changes in the past 2 years is an understatement. Add those challenges to the challenges facing our nation and our world: political division, efforts to undermine the foundations of democracy, climate change, the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, and the resulting protests, and now the shocking Russian invasion of Ukraine. I don't know about you, but some days I just want to get back into bed and watch Netflix all day. But I'm a historian, and I bring some perspectives from the past to my understanding of all the challenges we face, both in Converse and in the wider world. History is marked by alternating periods of relative stability and very rapid change. I know that this is not the first time that Converse or our nation or world have faced challenging times. Those periods force us to rethink everything we believe about ourselves, about the institutions we value, and about what matters in the world. In addition to my knowledge from history, my current work as a personal and career coach gives me some helpful perspective on navigating change. So let's start by talking about the difference between change and transition. Change is situational. It's what's happening to us. It can be voluntary, like moving into a new car, a new home. Let's hope not the other. Or change can be involuntary, like having your house burned down. It can be a personal change, like a new job or the loss of a loved one, an illness or a marriage. Or change can be a collective event, like a war or a pandemic or a community devastated by a tornado. Even joyful changes, like the birth of a child, can create anxiety and disrupt daily life as we have known it. Change is situational, but transitions are psychological. They are internal processes. In the words of English professor turned change management expert William Bridges, transition is the reorientation and self-redefinition you have to go through in order to incorporate changes into your daily life. Not every change generates a transition, but some changes, even positive, welcome, joyful ones like graduating from college, force you to navigate a transition. Sometimes we find that the most challenging changes in life happen in clusters. Our lives can feel like a perfect storm of change. We may lose a job and a parent in the same year, followed by the disintegration of a marriage or a critical diagnosis, or a pandemic, or a war. When these changes cluster like a 6-car pileup, it feels like the world is coming apart. And all that change drives us to question everything about our lives. Sometimes people respond to change by trying to wave a metaphorical magic wand and make things go back the way they were before, or to crawl into bed and watch Netflix. But when that doesn't work, sometimes they can get stuck in bitterness and anger. They can hunker down and avoid the hard emotional work it takes to engage in that self-redefinition. Transitions require us to let go of our attachments to what came before and grieve our losses. As William Bridges put it, transition does not require that you reject or deny the importance of your old life, just that you let it go. Transitions are an invitation to growth and development. As Bridges put it, a transition is the period in which you reorient yourself, quote, so that you can mobilize your energy to deal successfully with the new situation. Transitions are about disengaging from outdated ways of being and living and thinking of ourselves, outdated for us, and fully engaging in a new way of being and living. Transitions leave behind people who are different in some ways, but they also leave behind people who see the world differently. So I want to leave you with a story about Converse's past and another time of both change and transition in the life of our institution. Of course, at Founders Day, we celebrate the contributions of Dexter Edgar Converse and his peers who founded this institution. But today I want to look at a later generation. According to Dr. Lillian Kibler, who wrote the history of Converse College, in 1955, Converse was drifting into a state of decline, and there seemed to be no positive leadership that could unify faculty, administration, and trustees into taking strong measures to preserve the high standing of the college. Enrollment was declining. The college was finding it hard to retain faculty and students. Facilities had fallen into disrepair, and leaders struggled to balance the budget. There was concern among alumni that the curriculum of the college had not been updated to meet the needs of the modern student. Other faculty and alumni resisted change, insisting that the college should stay exactly the way it had been in earlier times. In the midst of all this turmoil and uncertainty, President Edward Gwathmey announced his retirement after 22 years at the helm. Add all these changes on campus to upheavals in the larger world. This was the time of the Cold War when people were building home bomb shelters in case of nuclear war, and the civil rights movement. This was a time of profound change, and Converse was in the middle of it. A few visionary leaders understood that the college needed to reorient herself and grow to meet the challenges of a changing world. Dean Alfred C. Morgan, the dean of the faculty, stepped up and took the helm as interim president. And he asked the Board of Trustees, faculty, and alumni to serve on committees to study the curriculum, student financial aid, the physical plant, and the financial needs of the college. And then the college hired two visionary women to conduct an in-depth study of college operations. Dean Nancy Lewis of Pembroke College and Dean Jilly LaRue of Randolph-Macon Women's College. The Lewis-LaRue study recommended aggressive action to increase need-based and merit-based financial aid, improve facilities, raise faculty salaries and reduce teaching loads, an ambitious fundraising campaign, and improved student recruitment and retention efforts. Alumni stepped up and organized a capital campaign that succeeded in getting 75% of alumni to contribute to the college. And on the strength of this plan, the college was able to recruit and hire Dr. Oliver C. Carmichael, Jr. to be the fourth president of Converse College. Dr. Carmichael was only at the helm for 4 years, but in that brief time, he led the college through a transition, an inner reorientation and self-redefinition. Only 36 years old when he took over, he understood the needs and demands of the young female student of the 1950s better than some older leaders. To the chagrin of some among the faculty and alumni, he commented that he operated a college for women from Monday through Friday and provided coeducational weekends. He and his team raised millions of dollars to renovate old buildings and construct a new road system, to erect a new dormitory and the Montgomery Student Center, to renovate and expand Dexter Hall and G Dining Hall, and to renovate Twitchell Auditorium. Faculty salaries were increased, as was student financial aid. The curriculum was modernized and academic standards were increased. The college began to host summer institutes for high school science, language, and literature teachers, expanding its educational mission beyond the traditional undergraduate population. The administration worked with students to update and modernize rules governing the social life on campus. Co-curricular programming was expanded. The college began to recruit faculty nationally and encourage them to attend professional association meetings and conduct research. The size of the library collection was expanded by 25%. New majors and programs of study were added in the School of Music. All this in only 4 years. Upon his retirement, the chair of the board said of Dr. Carmichael, "He gave us the inspiring leadership and the energy to move forward. He changed the face and potential of the college. He made dreams of progress come true at Converse and sparked anew the torch of confidence in her future." Dr. Carmichael was an extraordinary leader, but most important, he was a man who helped the college navigate a transition. Some people resisted some of the changes, like modernizing the curriculum and changing rules of student conduct. But Dr. Carmichael understood that a static institution that didn't respond to changes in the larger world would not thrive. He was able to mobilize the Converse community behind a broader vision of the institution's role in the world, one better suited to the second half of the 20th century. Dexter Edgar Converse and his peers may have laid the foundations for an outstanding institution, but we should not forget that Dr. Carmichael and his contemporaries positioned the college to continue thriving into its second century. They did so by embracing the challenge of transition, seeing clearly and deciding wisely for new generations of Converse students. This outlook was articulated well by Frances Bird, president of the SGA, at Dr. Carmichael's retirement celebration. She said, under Dr. Carmichael's guidance, we have strived not for mediocrity with other girls' schools. Instead, we have been challenged to make Converse the best school. Never content to be idle, he challenged each student with a desire for betterment by striving for more individual and group maturity. Today, as we face a disorienting range of changes, personally, locally, nationally, and globally, our first impulse may be to try to go back to the way we lived and worked and studied before COVID, before political turmoil, before climate change, before a model change. Our challenge is to embrace the opportunity to develop, to engage in the renewal and the reorientation we need to incorporate the changes we face. So on this Founders Day, let's resolve to follow the lead of Dr. Carmichael, Dean Morgan, SGA President Francis Byrd, and all those folks who navigated the transitions of the 1950s and renewed this institution. Let's preserve the best of our past while adapting to a future which broadens and strengthens us as individuals, as a community, as a nation, and as a world. Thank you, and happy Founders Day.
As you prepare to leave this place, hear this. Remember that you were created with a purpose, and that each of us is a piece of a shared mission in unity. May we all take up our part in bettering our campus, our community, and our world. May you go in gratitude, in peace, and with purpose, this day and forevermore. Amen.